Right, I've got 5 hours 16 on that memory card. That should be enough, shouldn't it? Hello, update time. Ooh, not comfy. Another new chair, third new chair in a year. The last two collapsed. I think they're trying to tell me something. So I think in some point of this video I'm going to be putting in some extra clips, and at one of those I'm using another chair that was creaking. I managed to stop it creaking, but it was one of these ones with the gas strut thing in the middle, and I was just sinking like this. And I had to keep shooting like bits of videos, pumping up, going blah, 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 saying it very quickly as I could feel myself going, and then like if I'd have carried on recording, you just see the top of my head at the bottom of the frame. So that one went back. Oh yeah, all from the same company, unfortunately. I think Bayside or something. Anyway, you know, gas bar stools, the right size for me, from Costco. Normally they don't stock complete rubbish, but on this occasion, all these things were made by the same company in China, and they're just very low quality. Unfortunate, but there you go. Right, anyway, enough about stools of all sorts. Let's start this one off. Okay, so I have shot some extra stuff for this one this month. We have got, I've got a load of text on here, a very small font, which is inappropriate, but I wanted it to fit on one size. Small for me, anyway. Do you ever get that thing when people send you emails? See the tiny font on your screen, and you're thinking, what are they doing this? I suppose they're on some kind of laptop, and it looks dead big to them. But as soon as it gets onto my computer, I'm like this. So then I end up doing like a big, large font so I can reply back in text that I can see that I'm typing. And sometimes I forget to like reduce it down. So when it gets sent back the other way, they'll have this big thing that looks like the top line of an eye test. Anyway, yeah, so I've got some inserts this time. There's one, I'm going to show you some lunches I've had. I don't know if people want to see this. I know people have said, I hate that thing when I say people. It sounds like I'm being like dismissive. Oh, you let the people eat cake. But you know what I mean. I've had various individuals say that they quite liked it when I went on about the noodles and stuff. But you know, I don't want to take advantage and just sort of put any old rubbish out there. However, this time, while I was having a few different lunches, I shot some stuff very quick and easy on a little action cam. So I've got a couple of those to add in. I'll give you chapters on this so that you can jump past the bits that aren't interesting. But if you do it too much, you'll find you're at the other end. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit insert somewhere about lunches. I'll talk about microphones again, my bane of my life at the moment, microphones. And I've got a new one again, and a bit about that in a bit, and extras about the 78 record player. The record player that I adjusted, altered, and all the rest of it. I've got a bit more to add to that one, which isn't worth a video in its own, but you get it here. And some of this stuff's all right, actually. You know, it kind of, it'd almost be good enough for a YouTube video, some of this stuff. But the way the audience is on YouTube nowadays, they wouldn't put up with it. Because, you know, it's a very intolerant kind of bunch, a lot of people, and get really angry about everything. So better off just showing it to you, where you can just go, you know what it's about. I'm just showing you stuff, and that, you know, without having to be sort of super polished and that, as you can see from this bit. Anyway, as mentioned, it's a bit of a nightmare of a month. I've had a load of failures. There've been a couple of videos that I was starting on, and the thing just didn't work and it failed. And it's not the kind of, oh, send it to this guy, send it to that guy, get it repaired. It's not that. It's knackered and it will never work, and I need another one. And if I could even find one, it would be unlikely type of thing. So that ruined it. But the trouble was, it wasn't just a matter of like starting and going, oh, it doesn't work. I get all the research, I get the pictures downloaded, I learn all the history of the product, I get all the things, videos and clips and things, spend like days upon days doing research. Get all that stuff together, thinking, right, let's do the practical side of things. Start, and the thing fails on me. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that was a waste of 4 days. And then start again. So that's why you've kind of seen some weird little videos this month. It's just, I started on one thing, it failed. I started on something else, it failed. I got something else out I thought would be easy, turned out it wasn't easy. You know, that kind of thing. It's just been stuff like that. But it isn't just that. There have been other issues been going on. Microphones, I reverted back to these Rode mics. You can see that there. I've got it hanging on the front of my shirt just so I can make sure it's got a good line of sight to this camera. I don't tend to have issues with this camera particularly, but my Just look at my ball patch a minute while I go and find my camera. There we go. Oh, it's plugged in. My Sony ZV-1. This is the one that I use on like an arm here to shoot stuff. And you're looking at the other camera, obviously. This, because it would be weird if it was this one. I'd be shooting some very strange angles. But mic in on here. So I plugged the same mic you're listening to, and it got loads of interference when I was shooting the video about the CD text. And I didn't notice it when I was recording it. I'm being very careful now, every now and then. Just going quiet, just to see that the bars on the display go all the way to the bottom, because that's what I didn't do. And what I didn't realise was I was seeing it all moving, but if I stopped talking, underneath that would just be a horrendous wail all the way through it. I've sort of traced it back afterwards to being the fact that I was charging this via USB. The battery doesn't last hardly long enough in this for it to be of any use. And the way it's designed, the tripod mount on the bottom is fouled by the battery compartment. So you can't just kind of keep it on the tripod and swap the batteries out. You have to take it all apart every time. So instead, I just charge it via micro USB on the side here all the time. So it's powered by micro USB. It's supposed to be able to do that. I think it's an option in the menus. But for some reason, there was like this horrendous kind of feedback wail coming through. And I took the USB plug out of my charger and put it into a USB power bank battery pack, and it went away. So I thought, oh, and then I put it back in the other thing and it went away again. So I don't know, I'm going to do it off batteries in future. I've got a little battery bank thing here just to be on the safe side, because there was something very weird happened. But it meant I lost all the audio for all the, well, the vast majority of it, for the bits when I was looking down at stuff on the CD text. For probably most of a day, it was only like the stuff I shot in the evening that was all right again. It had just started working again. So yeah, had issues with audio, but yeah, the thing about the mic I'm going to insert is about a different mic entirely. But yeah, so I've had things break, and then I've had things that I thought were working go wrong. So it's been one of those. And on top of that, I'll tell you, it's been very expensive this month because I had to buy a new phone. I think my old phone's, no, it's down in the lounge. I had an iPhone 10 since it first came out. And because that was the previous one I'd had before that was 4 years old or something, and it was like very poor quality as far as the camera goes and that. Also, I think it was a larger one. I had a bit of a larger one. I decided I didn't want a larger one because it was annoying to carry in my pocket. So I went to this iPhone 10, and it was all right. You know, I don't get excited about phones. I see a lot of people get really excited, like dead tribal about phones. And any time I'll show a phone in the video to set something up, obviously it's my phone. I don't have a random phone to do things with, so I use the phone I've got now. As it was a 5-year-old iPhone 10. I don't know when exactly they came out, and that's what I was using on things. And you still get people going, oh, you don't want an iPhone, you want an Android. It always seems to be these sort of Android people tell you that you want to go on Android. I don't want to go on Android. I don't have anything against it. I've got Android devices, but I'm tied in with the Apple ecosystem. I've got my editing package. I can only use iMovie because I'm a moron. I can't figure anything else out. And therefore I've got a laptop, and I'll edit stuff downstairs or on the laptop while I'm watching telly, or get pictures together, upload it, and it gets stored in the cloud, the iCloud thingamajig, and the shared desktops and all that. And if I take a picture on my phone, it'll end up on this computer. It's all kind of linked together. So if now I suddenly go, right, I'm going to get an Android phone, nothing will work now. I'll have to use sort of Google sharing things, which is fine if you're into that. If you're on a Windows laptop and you make sure you've always been putting your stuff into Google and it all shares and in Dropbox and all that kind of stuff, yeah, fine. But I haven't done that for the last 10 years. So I've got all my stuff in a different ecosystem, and then suddenly to say, oh, I'm going to swap phones now, almost impossible. If the Android person, if you said to them, tell you what, you should swap to an iPhone, they go, oh no, I don't want to do that. Anyway, so yeah, I had to get a new phone. So obviously I have to get an iPhone of sorts to just copy through what I'd already got, so I could just carry on where I left off. The main issue was my phone, the screen fell out. Now, I don't know if it's because I dropped it a few times or more than a few times, but I think it's the battery had swollen up, so the screen was actually falling out. I could have pulled it out, but I kind of kept trying to shove it back in, and I managed to get it it was held in one of those little cases, so I could the case was holding the screen to the back body. I thought, well, this is going to die very soon. I won't make it till autumn with this one. So I ended up having to order a new phone. I had to have one because authenticator and blood glucose monitoring. I mean, basically, I need a phone or I'll drop dead for the glucose. I mean, bit over exaggerated, but look, unlike people that go, "Oh, I'll die if I didn't have my phone," I might do if I don't, because it's the only way I can test my blood glucose level, and I need to know if I need to eat some sugar or take some insulin, and it's in my phone, so I had to have one. So obviously, like next day delivery or something, Apple, and you go looking for deals, you don't find any, so I just paid up for a... God, they're expensive, aren't they now? I mean, last time I got one, I thought I paid a lot, but flipping heck, like over £1,000, aren't they? I thought if I'm spending this amount of money, I'm not going to get another one in the autumn when USB-C comes out. I'll make sure I get a good one now that'll then last me another 5 years or whatever. So I ended up getting iPhone, is it 14 Pro, not the Max thing, if it's called the Max, because I want something that fits in my pocket. I don't carry around a man bag. I haven't got into that yet. If I do, just give me a slap. Right, so so that was first expensive thing. Next one was a new fridge freezer. Fridge freezer started leaking all over the floor, being weird and not doing water. And I had one of these American fridge freezer things for years. But it's a Samsung. It was a second Samsung I've had in, I mean, I know it's probably quite a long time, but still, each time you do it, it's a lot of money and a lot of hassle. And I feel with Samsung equipment, most of it, I've had tellies as well, and some other things, I always feel like a bit of a beta tester or beta tester with it. You get something and you're thinking, yeah, I don't think they've quite finished this. It's almost like they kind of rushed at the last minute and thought, yeah, no, that'll do. Let's just get it out to them now, because there's always something like a bit weird about Samsung stuff. All the Samsung stuff I've had always feels a little bit like, yeah, you could maybe have just spent another 6 months on this and just finished it off. Like there's something not quite 100% with it. So anyway, it had gone wrong, so I had to get another one. And I got a new one, and British houses, British door frames made in the 1970s, you've got to get a big fridge freezer through them. And looked at the measurements, and I found this fridge freezer, Fisher and Paykel or something. I think they were a decent brand once, perhaps New Zealand, Australia or something. Obviously bought by some Chinese company now and doesn't mean anything, but still. So I found this one, and it looked like it was a little bit shallower than the others. It was like 688 millimeters, and the Samsungs were 735 millimeters. Well, my door frame's 730, so they wouldn't have fit through. 688, I thought, oh, got about 5 centimeters of spare there, so it'll fit through. Well, it arrived, and it was supposed to be 2 guys delivering it and putting it in. Turns out it was like one little thin fella who his mate was off sick. Everything I've dealt with has been a disaster. So anyway, he leaves it in the garage. So me and the missus, after old people, tried getting this fridge freezer in. And it turns out that the measurements for it that were on their website and in the manual and everything don't include the handles. And the handles aren't removable. So that was a great idea. It's a lot like cars, when the cars don't include the wing mirrors and the width measurement. It's like, oh right, I'll just take them off then when I go through a gap or when I park in the garage. I'm not talking about folding mirrors here. I'm talking about like they just take off the entire width of them, like they don't exist. So they've done the same with this bloody fridge freezer. So it turns out it was almost as wide as us. So we're trying to wedge this thing through the door. And as it was, if it was like a millimetre out, it goes too wide at one point, of course. So you have to be perfectly straight with something that weighs about 6 tons. And somehow just get it through. Anyway, it took us all day, but we got it through. But yeah, that was another couple of £1,000. So yeah, it's very expensive month. Right, anyway, enough about my hassles this month, but it's been one of those months. Let's stick something in that's a little bit more light-hearted. I'm looking through my list here. Let's look at some food that I've been trying to eat for lunch. Here's what I'm having for lunch today. It's going to be awful, I know. I kind of bought it because of this. Frey Bentos all-day breakfast. Just the other month I learned that Fray Bentos was a place in Argentina, I think, was it? Or South America? No, was it? Anyway, yeah, it's a UK brand. Don't know why they called it that. Since 1881. And they make these awful pies in tins. I've had, I think, a couple of these in my life and always thrown a good 95% of it away because they're disgusting. And yet they still keep making them, so somebody likes them. Well, this one, I saw an all-day breakfast one. I thought, well, that'll be fun, in a weird way. Now, at the top here has the ingredients, okay? I just want to read this to you. Cumberland sausage, bacon, black pudding, beans in a tomato sauce topped with pastry. Okay, fair enough. The percentage of these, just add this up in your head. Cumberland sausage 5%, bacon 5%, 10%, we're running low on battery. Black pudding 3%, beans 7%, so that's another 10%. So 20% of it is like the stuff in it, and then it's in tomato sauce topped with pastry. So 20% is like the contents of the pie. Now, when I buy burgers, I look in the supermarket for like the best one, and sometimes the one that they say is the best isn't, because when you look at the percentage of like beef, it's quite low. I go for the ones that are like 95% beef. I don't want any kind of filler type stuff. Well, this is 80% filler and 20% probably very low quality stuff inside it. Anyway, let's open this up, and it has to go in the oven, this one. Bake in an oven for 25 to 30 minutes or until crust has risen and is golden brown. And how you do this, in case no one's seen one of these before, well, some people won't have, you open the tin with a tin opener and then bake the tin in an oven. You might have similar things where you are in other countries. I'm not too sure if Fray Bentos made its way out of the UK. I hope it didn't, because it would give us a terrible reputation. Now, I don't have a good can opener. Let's hope this is going to do it. One thing I do regularly is get another can opener and think, well, this one will be alright. And he always says this is the best one, and they're not. Right. Okay, so that's that. Now the next part is to make sure you cut your finger with the lid. I haven't done it this time. Right, so there's the disgusting pie that needs to go in the oven. So I'm just going to stick the oven on, and we'll come back and have a look at that in about 40 minutes. And I need to charge the battery up in the meantime, so it's a good opportunity. This is going to be disgusting. Right, it's ready. Let's have a look. Looks like it's burnt a bit. Well, I've burned the crust. Perhaps I should have checked on it. If I had a sense... Oh, it's kind of leaked a bit. If I had a sense of smell, I'd have noticed this. But truth is, there's a lot of pastry on these. You don't really want all of it anyway. I mean, you can see under here, as is usually the case, it's not exactly cooked. You end up with sort of sloppy pastry with burnt pastry on the top. Okay, let's get in here and have a look. Oh yeah, the next thing is you're supposed to kind of get them out of the tin to eat them. Let's forget about that idea though. Oh, I'm going to give this a taste. Yeah, just as disgusting as I remember them, but I think some people swear by these. They go, oh yeah, best thing ever. I presume they haven't ate anything else, so they wouldn't know, but each to their own, you know. I was trying to find a filling, but not the easiest thing to find. See, I'm at the bottom already. Ah, there, we found something. What's that? Black pudding, isn't it? Ugh. No. Oh, that's salty. Ugh. Oh. No. No. Oh, that's awful. Affiliate links are down below. No, that's going in the bin. Alright, well that was today's lunch. Well, it wasn't really. That's going in the bin. I'll find something a little bit more edible. Fray Bentos pies? No, not for me. Right, in the background here, by the way, I've been uploading the CD text video again for the third time. On the second edit, which I preferred, I just did a couple of things based off feedback from patrons about bits that I'd left a bit ambiguous or confusing or whatever. So I tidied a few on-screen things up with like extra captions and stuff. I didn't really change the content at all. But I noticed in the second edit, when I just watched it through today, because I thought it was all fine, there was a flash frame. I appeared on screen for like a second, because there was some bit where I'd done a bit to camera, but then I'd put like overlaid of, B-roll over the top. But at some point, they're just separated by 0.1 second, and there was me appearing for a second, and it annoyed me. I don't like stuff like that, little errors. I'm thinking if you can catch them before they go live. I mean, it's fair enough if it's already happened and it's live, and I won't go back and delete a video and start again. But before it goes live, I've gone back and just... So for the sake of 0.1 seconds, I've just done a re-edit and a re-upload. So that's what's been going in the background. Talking of videos, though... weird month for videos. I mean, I mentioned that I haven't really managed to get out what I wanted to. It was all a bit like second rate. Well, not second, more like third choice, something like that. Anyway, but the one, fortunately, in amongst all this kind of month of failure, the Tapes on a Plane video from years ago got re-recommended. Just weird, the algorithm, innit? But that's helped me out, because it's like basically it's like me having a hit video out this month that I haven't even made, which is like, well, I made in the past, but it had been forgotten about. It'd be nice if that happened every month. I've got 600 or more videos. If every month one of my old ones suddenly became a big recommended video, I could just retire or something, but it doesn't work that way. But yeah, fortunately, I did have this kind of extra hit video type thing, or quite successful video this month. But then, off the back of that, I think because that one was recommended and people clicked on it, I think this algorithm business has said, right, the next time he uploads a video, we'll recommend this, because this channel seems to be putting out things that people like. Happens to be the next one is the City Radio, which isn't a good video. And as I mentioned, everything else has gone wrong. Let's just do something that can't go wrong. A brand new thing in box, and let's talk about it. And then it turns out that was rubbish anyway. That's a hit. But that won't work 3 times in a row, I can tell you, because the next video that's coming on is the CD text one, which is deliberately and unashamedly nerdy and... go back to the drink again. Got it. Niche. Nerdy and niche. Right. I've had a month like this. Brain fog. Brain fog's been terrible this month. Just nothing's been sitting right at all. I haven't been able to speak lines. I haven't been able to remember things. I've been sitting there kind of staring into space a lot of it. Don't know what's going on with me at all. Fortunately, I work for myself. Work for my own, I was going to say. Work on my own for myself. And as a result, I can be as rubbish as I want to be. And on the days where I'm really just not capable of functioning, I can not function, and there's no one to tell me off. The only thing that happens is nothing gets done, and I'd rather I got stuff done, because need to pay the bills, need to pay for my new fridge, freezer, and my new phone that I didn't want. By the way, I won't be getting a new one now in autumn. I had this initial idea that I'd get this phone and pass it on to the missus, but she doesn't really need a new phone, and whatever happens in the autumn, unless it's amazing that like must have, which it won't be because it's just a new phone, I'll just stick with this one. As it is, I got one of those MagSafe charger things that goes on the back of it, the magnetic charger, because I'm going to have one of those in my new car, and I got like a separate one to go in the house, and I haven't plugged anything in the bottom of it since I got it, so I don't think it matters that it doesn't have a USB-C, because I won't be plugging anything into it. It would if you were doing like using it as a tool for recording video and sticking microphones in and stuff. I can understand the USB-C coming in handy there. I won't be doing any of that. I'd rather use standalone cameras and stuff. Anyway, so moving on, because this is crap, innit? Let's break it up again. Let me show you a new microphone that I got. Right, I bought some new microphones. I thought it might be worth making a little segment about it. I have changed my microphone setup numerous times. In fact, whatever microphone you could probably think of, I've got an example of it somewhere in a box that I've tested it out, I've tried it, and I didn't like the sound of it. And whatever I changed to, I don't like it. I think the thing is, I'm asking too much. There are a couple of issues. First off, just want to mention, I'm talking to you through a lavalier now that's attached to a Rode Wireless Go 2, which is currently on charge, but it doesn't matter about that. And that works fine. This is working fine. Me talking to you through this. The reason I use wireless, well, I used to use a wired lavalier, but I was always like getting up and forgetting it was attached and pulling the camera over. I've snapped a few of them off, so it's much easier if I have the wireless ones. I tend to clip the transmitter somewhere on me, and then if the door goes, you know, Amazon or whatever, I can just get up and I don't have to think about it. But anyway, this works fine. Lavaliers on me work fine. There's something about the way that I speak and the fluctuations in the volume of my speech that tends to work best when the microphone isn't pointed at my mouth. It's kind of in the general direction, and that is one of the issues. The other one is that when I'm doing editing like this and I've got the screen in front of me, I'm a bit closer than I normally would be, just so I could be in shot, but I'll be sat here and I'll be maybe have some text down the side of the screen. You might just make that out. It's just off to the left there, but a bit of text at this side of the screen. In fact, I'll move things across so it kind of fits. So I could be reading this text here and going, oh, blah, 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 whilst I'm looking at this. Now, I can't do it with a lav plugged into the computer. It doesn't really work out that way. So I'm using USB mics. And the most recent one I've got is the Blue Yeti. If I speak to it with it in front of my face like this, about like this close, that's the sound quality that I kind of like, but I can't use it in this position because that is in front of my vision. I can't read my text now, and bear in mind I've got one eye that doesn't really work properly. So anything like down in front of my face isn't a goer. So I have to put it up just a little bit higher up here, just above the screen line for my eyes. So now I can see and I can talk, but now I'm projecting at this point here, whilst I'm reading there. Oh, of course, varifocals as well. So I have to kind of have the text towards the bottom of the screen and move the screen down usually. And I'm kind of talking in this direction, and the sound just doesn't sound right at all. It gets very echoey. Part of the problem is I've got a big screen here, a big hard surface. Talking at this, getting a lot of echo back, reverb, whatever it is, you know, bounce back of audio. And everything sounds like it's in a kind of weird chamber, and it's an unpleasant sound. And also, by putting it up here, the tone of this completely changes. Down here, it's great for speech. Move it up there, it kind of gets weirdly thin. In fact, let's do a bit of a demonstration. So I'm going to record now. Right, excuse me. Okay, actually, we'll put it down in the right position. So let's even though I can't see it, this is where I'd never have it. This is where it's supposed to be, and this is the quality of speech you get if you had the microphone directly in front of your face so you couldn't see the screen. Okay, right, I've dubbed that over. Now let's move it up to up to about there. That's where I would have it. So now I'm talking as I would if I was reading this text that's on my screen, and the microphone's above my head here. One issue though with having it further down, you can pick up all the kind of noises of your mouth, you know, those kind of things. Anyway, we'll just listen to it up here. So this is what it would sound like if I was reading the text and I had the microphone above my head. And it's a kind of echoey sound now, a little bit like you're recording in a toilet or something, or a bathroom. It's not very good at all. Now, you might think these things are all right, but honestly, when I come to edit them, I'll have a loader section with the lav where I've got the ZV-1 that you're using now, or the other camera, and I'm talking through that. And then I'll jump to these bits and they sound completely tonally different. And whatever I do to them in editing and messing about, I can never get the things to match in a pleasant way. There's always one that sounds way different to the other. Now, this is the most recent mic setup. I'll just stop that recording. Prior to this, I had, well, I think the previous one, one of the ones, people always say, oh, no, you don't want USB mics. You want, what's that plug called? XLR. You want XLR mics. So I went to the trouble of getting this nice, I think it was a Rode, or was it a Sam? Anyway, whatever it was a good quality mic, expensive one, a couple £100 or so. XLR output. I had to then get a USB to XLR, like little adapter thing, amplifier, mic amp. So I plugged that in. I got extra plugs and stuff. Did not like the sound of that at all, the tone of it. Load of popping on it as well. This is the issue with my speech. I tend to fluctuate in volume quite a bit, and I pop a lot. I've got a way of speaking that pops a lot. So with this, for example, I've got, where it is, I've got one of those little spongy things and put that over there. All that does is make it sound really muffled. So that didn't help. But with this other mic, I was getting a lot of those kind of effects. So I got like a pop filter. Didn't like the sound of it. I then ended up, and I was peaking all the time. I was going very quiet and peaking. If I boosted it, it was all peaking out. If I had it at the right level, there was bits that were too quiet. So then I thought, oh, I'll get a compressor. So I got a DBX compressor attached to this XLR mic and this thing. And I was twiddling with all the different things on this. And it just, whatever I did, it sounded terrible. It sounded really weird and nasty. So then I ended up getting a graphic equalizer to go out of the compressor and back into, and I had this massive setup of stuff, and it sounded crap. All of it sounded crap. Whatever I did, it sounded crap. And I spent a lot of time over it. I put a number of videos out using different settings, thinking, oh, this sounds all right now. Put it out, and people say, oh, what's wrong with the sound? I mean, it wasn't good. So that was a replacement for the thing that I had before, which I didn't like, and then that was a replacement for the thing I had before, which I didn't like, and this one. Now, with this one, I say with that, it kind of made it muffled, and I was getting these echoey effects when I have it up here. By the way, this creaky chair's annoying me, but pretend that's not happening. So then I got one of these things. I've shown this in a previous video. It's like a spongy box that the microphone goes into. Let's just pop that on there, see if we can get this up here without breaking everything. Right, so pop filter goes on the front, like so. And now, let's get the voiceover recorded at this point. Okay, so now, you see I've got this stupid box in front of my face, so I was having to try and work around that. But let's just record the audio from this. Now, the idea of this box is that it's going to stop those annoying reflection type sounds I was getting, that echoey stuff. But what this does, it just makes everything sound horrendously muffled, like you were talking through a pillow or something. So I gave up on all this stuff. I'm thinking, none of this is working. Whatever I do doesn't work. So I was watching a video of a chap, and he had a sponsored thing, and he said, oh, there's a low profile microphone stand, and he was just demonstrating it. And I thought I could do one of those, because instead of having this thing in front of my face, if I had a low profile mic down here, I could have it down on the table, just sort of above the keyboard, pointed upwards. I may see my screen then. I thought, that's what I need. So I went looking online. Now, he was advertising the Ulanzi one, which is only available really if you're in the US or you're importing direct from China. I couldn't be bothered with all that. It was a bit of a copy of this one anyway, which was the low profile wave mic arm from what's the name of the company now? Well, it's from Corsair, but I think it's to do with these guys. Elgato. So it was advertised as an Elgato low profile arm. So this would attach sort of where this one is, but it would just come out here. Now, of course, that is not going to work with this microphone, this big stupid thing here. So then I thought, well, since I don't like the sound of this anyway, I'll go and get myself a new mic. So I got the mic that's supposed to go with this, the Wave 3 from Elgato. I got the white one because it was about £40 cheaper than the black one in some weird sale. Doesn't matter what colour your microphone is, does it? And then to that, to mount it to the arm, the anti-vibration suspension mount, just because it's more of a mount than the vibration side of things, but I'll take it. And then a pop filter. Now, the thing with this one that appealed a little bit was that it says here, anti-clipping technology on there, amongst other things. Now, microphones just clip all the time on me, or they're too quiet. So let's try this mic out. Let's see if it's any good. I just want it to sound like this. I want it to sound like a basic lavalier. Just that kind of tone, nice and clear, without all the echo. But as I say, I can't really do the lav and the iMovie or the editing at the same time. It needs to be like a USB mic going into it. And yeah, there's probably ways, but I'd rather have a microphone set up here that I could use rather than to take this off the camera and wire it all in every time. So let's get on with this. Right, so I'll get the arm out first of all. getting rid of that one. Ugh. So you can see the idea here. It's just like a flat thing with a clamp. That really, all these things are designed to go on the back of your desk. They show the pictures. You've got a clamp at the back, and then the microphone comes out and round. Well, I can't get to the back of my desk, so I've got to do it from the front. But I think we'll be all right. So basically, it's just that going into that. So let me swap out this big thing here with this and see how that looks. Quite like the quality of this clamp. The other one was falling apart. Seems quite solid. Yeah, that'll be all right, that. Get rid of this box. Right, so it's like a ball head on here. No, there we go. That's it. Right. Yeah, so the mic, I don't know, can you see? Yeah, you can see that. So the mic could be down here. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? So I'd have this. I could sort of twist that around if I needed to, but I'd probably have it like that height. And then, yeah, I'd be at the right position for that. And then when I don't want to use it, fold it out of the way like that. It's not really getting too much in the shot there either, is it? Move you around a little bit because we're a bit over there, aren't we? Right. So the next thing, let's go for this microphone. Right, so this is the Elgato Wave 3. Cost 100 and something quid. Now, the trouble with mics is I've seen a lot of reviews when people say, oh, this is the best one, I'll get this one. And then it'll work with their voice, but it won't work with mine or in my situation. It's very much about your situation, I think. So if I was in an ideal location with it sort of hanging down in the middle of the room with all the soundproofing, by the way, this is soundproofing tiles on the back here that you can't see, around the back of the screen, but that's the problem. It's around the back of the screen. The screen is the issue. The screen's bouncing the sound around. So, yeah, I've got a less than ideal situation here, but you'd hope that somebody made a microphone that works in less than ideal situations, because if they all just work in ideal situations, well, just get the cheapest one, because that'll work, if you know what I mean. Right, so in here, right, USB-C connection on there. We'll try it as it is, and then we'll try it with the pop filter on, and I'll try it on the arm, and we'll just see what it sounds like. Again, I'm going to record it into this timeline here, and at the end I'll just dub it over onto the video that you're watching. Right, so the way this works, you've got a button on here, there's symbols, headphone, crossover, don't know, need to read about that, microphone volume. Right, mic and PC mix, monitor volume, mic gain. Push to select, turn to adjust, tap to mute. Where do I tap to mute? Is it on the top? Well, that's nice. Right, so can you see this little colour here? I don't know if you can. Just the top of it's capacitive. So you tap to mute, and it's quite obvious when you've got it in mute because the surround to the volume goes red. I like it already. Nice little thing. So it should appear on my list of objects. Elgato Wave 3, there it goes. Hello. Right, okay, so I'll just turn up the gain on the microphone. Right, we're peaking out now, and now we're not. So I think that's all right. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. So I can pretend I'm reading something off the screen here. Okay, so now I'm talking into the microphone, but whilst reading something on the screen. So hopefully this kind of angle for my voice is something that sounds better on this microphone than it did when I had the thing up above my head, but we'll find out when you listen to it. You'll be the first one to know. Oh, let's just do an off-axis talk like that. So I'm just going to talk around and move my head at a slow pace so that you can hear the off-axis recording, and hopefully we're not getting too much bounce back off the screen with it being down here. This is a soft surface I've got, so maybe that'll kind of cushion it a little bit. Anyway, let's just see how that looks. Right, that was perhaps a little bit lower than I normally record, but I'll boost it a bit and we'll just perhaps turn the mic up one more notch. Right, okay, so that's good. Next thing, let's get the pop shield on here. So I think a proper voiceover person would be better able to modulate the volume of their voice. They'd have had a lot more practice perhaps at it, or they'd just be better at it full stop from the word go. I think my voice goes up and down quite a bit as far as the volume goes, and if you're thinking about the volume of your voice all the time, you're forgetting what it is you're supposed to be saying. So I just say it, and then afterwards I realise, oh, hold on, I was peaking out all the time now, which is a bit annoying. So hopefully this, with its anti-pop thing, in conjunction with the clipping technology, should stop my voice from popping. So there we go. That's how that goes on there, just clips on the bottom. So that's easy enough, wasn't it? Right, so that is, we've got that. We've got that. Yep, one of them. Right, now, suspension mount and arm. Let's put those things together, and hopefully by the end of this I'm going to have a microphone I'm happy with. I'll tell you what, I'm happier with the design of this than I am with that thing that was up there, so I definitely won't be putting that one back. I'm just hoping this sounds alright. As soon as people start complaining, you know, in the videos, they go, what's wrong with your audio? You know that something's gone wrong. Right, again, nice construction on there. That's all metal around there. Okay, so this should go on the end of here. Right. Like so. Yeah, this is all good. Let's get that down there. Working out so far, and now onto this. I'll take this off and put it on there. You have to have quite small fingers, well, nimble fingers to get in this little gap here. You can't do full turns. Well, it adds quite a bit of weight to it, that, so you have to tighten everything up to stop it falling down. Right. Superfluous stand there. Wow, this chair's getting really creaky. I'll have to get the oil out and see if that'll fix it. Okay, so I was tempted to lift it up then, you see. You have to get used to not being able to do that. So what this needs is perhaps go down there. Take a little bit of adjusting to this, and of course I'll need to figure out what to do with that wire. Yeah, I think that's about the right volume. Okay, so let me do a little bit to this one. Yeah, so as I was saying, in iMovie, whenever you record a voiceover, it applies voice enhance to it, which is a bit annoying because you look at your voice at the bottom and it shows it's all peaked out. So what it is, you've got your microphone at the right volume level, and then it goes and applies this voice enhance, boosts it so much that it's peaking out. Then you have to go back and click a button to say, oh no, don't do voice enhance. It goes back to a normal quality again. So, best check this shock mount out, haven't we? So we'll do a bit of tapping. That shouldn't be coming through. I think that pop filter's a little bit off centre. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Obviously you'll have heard that, so you're the first one to hear this. See what you think. With any luck, this is it. I've finally got the right setup after all these years. I mean, just look at that. What a brilliant little thing. I've got my keyboard, I've got my thing on the floor that shouldn't be there. I've got my little control, all the rest of it, and I can just bring this in. And whilst looking at the screen and looking at the editing, I'm talking down here. And in fact, I kind of do that naturally because of my glasses. I'm sort of angled like this. Yeah, I think this might do it. I hope it sounds good. Right, I've gone back and listened, and it sounded kind of echoey again. But then I had to listen to the bit that I'd left the voice enhance on, and that sounded all right. So it seems like voice enhance combined with a lower volume level on the microphone, so it's not peaking out, gives the best results. Let's just do a quick demo of that. So, okay, so now I'm talking to you with the microphone set to about halfway up on the volume, and the voice enhance is automatically applied to this, and it sounds kind of less like it's being recorded in a chamber, I think, and it actually seems to be coming across quite clearly as far as I'm concerned. I might adjust the volume a little bit from where it is, but I think that sounded all right. And I think the anti-clipping technology is working because I've put it up now to 5 out of 7 white dots, and according to iMovie, it's heading into the red all the time, so it's effectively louder than I'd normally record. And yet, if you're listening to this now, which you are, this isn't clipping. It's keeping itself right up to the maximum, but it's not affecting the audio. I don't know how well you can see this. Cable routing. So there's magnets here. This is all metal. And the top of this arm just fits on like that. So you can route your cables through it very easily. And I love this. This is great. What a great solution. Yeah, that's neat, that. And it goes, so we've got two of these covers. There's one at this part, one at the other part. So the cable kind of goes in and out a little bit, but looks very smart, that. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well there you go. That was the Elgato Wave 3, and more importantly, the low profile arm that goes with it. So I think I might have actually found the answer to my problems. Okay, right, well that's it for this bit. Let's go back to the rest of the video. Right, so yeah, it's behind me here, down here. You can't even see it, can you? It's good, that. Yeah, best solution yet, that one. I'm happy with it. I think something just fell off. I thought it wasn't off the mic. But no, it's good. I like it. Very solid. You know, compared to the Blue Yeti stuff, which I know is considered a kind of, you know, poor man's stuff in a way, but Elgato I didn't think had any greater reputation than Blue Yeti. We're not talking like proper quality stuff here that's used in studios and that, but honestly, the solidness of that arm with those big metal pieces and just the construction of it. And when I took the mount off for the Blue Yeti, all the bit that clamps it to the table had all fallen apart. I wouldn't have been able to use it again anyway, even if I wanted to. And this one, it's just so much more solid. Very clever thing that they did, which I didn't show you in the video. You know when you twist the bit on the bottom to like clamp it up to your desk? Well, if you twist it and the kind of plastic bit that you twist ends up sticking out like that, they've got a little button in the middle that you can press, and that'll just flip round loosely. It doesn't. It like takes it off the grip, so you can kind of loosely move it around, so you can hide everything neatly. I mean, that's just thinking about stuff. Heartily recommended. And if I was doing anything again, I think first thing I'll do is look at the Elgato range, because I used their video capture thing for years, and it's never let me down either. So yeah, let's just mention a few things that I noticed as trends. I don't know if you spotted any of these. Everything at the moment is talking about AI, isn't it? It's all about, oh, what about AI? What about all these AI things? I can understand it because it's something new that's sort of come along. As I mentioned before, with a lot of tech, there's not much going on, is there? So if you were talking about cameras, there's very few new cameras coming out, as witnessed by the fact that DP Review shut down. I know there's probably behind the scenes things with Amazon and that, but also the fact that they don't have any new cameras to review has got to have something to do with it. You know, if there were new cameras coming out hand over fist every week and they were swamped with them and they were like showing them off and getting the reviews in and they're having affiliated links and selling loads of things, it probably would have been a different story. But as it is, it's just dried up. So I mentioned this at the end of last year. I said there'll be all sorts of stuff shutting down this year due to like tech drying up, and well, that's proven it. And one of the car review channels that I mentioned when I was doing it, I mentioned it was this car review channel that I watched that shut down because not enough people watched it. Well, there's another one that I used to watch that's changed the content entirely. It's got all kind of boring, but again, trying to like link it in with a website more than people just going there to watch the reviews. But talking of car reviews, one thing I've noticed is car reviewers on any thing, on car review things on YouTube or TV, they always do the same sound. There's this, and it annoys me. And they'll always go, hoo, 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 hoo. It's that every time. And it starts, it's like, whoa. The thing is, I'm an old guy, right? I've been around a lot of time, and unless you completely like have a goldfish memory, you start getting patterns in things. You go, I've seen this before. So spend enough time watching people talking about cars, and you'll see people going, hoo, 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 all the time. And it's like, don't do that. Oh, let's see how fast this goes. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Stop it. You're not an owl. It's doing me head in. And like literally, it's just like, just say something different. Think of something different. Instead of going, let's see that turbo kicking. Stop it. All right, so that's one. So I'm just giving you things that'll annoy you now, hopefully. And then we can all share in the annoyance. I was talking about everything being about AI before I derailed myself. I used an AI clip in that video about the post office audio-visual system advert display thing, and I used an AI. I needed a picture of a post office queue in the 1980s, And everything now is stock footage that you can't use. Getty, Alarmy, is it, or something? All those different people. You touch any picture that you found anywhere, somebody will want to jump down your throat. So I thought, get AI to do it. Well, it looked really weird. It looked like everyone had a plastic bag on their head. Yeah, that's my first and only attempt at using AI. Oh, no, I have used it in to try and do some audio editing. I mentioned last time I'd got some audio that should have been able to be fixed with it and couldn't. Well, this time, again, I had some failed audio in a video that had some interference. Not the one I was talking about, but another one. And I ended up throwing that through that Adobe AI voice enhancer thing, and it kind of worked. It's a little bit muffled, a bit kind of studio, a bit, hello, and I'm talking to you through the voice recognition system. That kind of, like a late night. Here's one for all you truckers out there. So it's a bit, not really I like crisper audio, like with a bit of a edge to it, Right, so another thing that I've noticed a lot, of course, people are all talking about the Apple VR headset, because there's this VR, AR headset, whatever it is, coming out at some point, and they're all going on about that. I can understand again, because not much going on to do with Apple. That's one of their, if not their only, big priority at the moment. The car thing got forgotten about, didn't it? And the Apple TV thing got forgotten about. So if you want to talk about Apple stuff, you're going to talk about, speculate perhaps about the VR. Problem with VR with me, I've got this problem with my eyesight where this eye doesn't really work properly anymore. If I can't actually see the screen on the camera if I just look through that now. I've got the rooms here, and when I get to this point, this is just like a grey blob. In fact, if I put my fingers there, the top of my fingers disappear. So that's my problem. Now, I'm not expecting Apple to sort their headset out just for me. But what I'm saying is every time anyone goes about AR, VR and all that, I just think, well, that's not going to apply to me. Yeah, not really my bailiwick, that one. So it's a bit annoying that like the new tech is going to be something that I'm excluded from. I like getting involved in the new tech, but that world is going to have to let me pass by. I did try, and I got the PlayStation VR 2 headset. I thought mostly because when my nephew comes round, he can have a play around with it. But I wanted, in a way, just to see if I was capable of using this stuff. And you know what? I could actually get by the eye thing because I do have the peripheral vision, and I can kind of I can view the scenes. But with the glasses, with the spectacles, and the mask on here, it all just steams up. And there's supposed to be a fan in it somewhere as well, but I was like, whatever I do. And then also on the PlayStation one, the position of the to get it just right so you can see things nice and sharp, very fine. Oh, and also I use varifocals. I can't see distance, I can't see short. So I had to take these off. I've got some glasses, fortunately, that are just distance that I bought the other year, cheap ones, but my prescription for distance. I think the idea was that I was going to wear them and then maybe, what was I going to do? I was going to wear them in the car or something. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so I put those, I have to put different glasses on, just for distance. But even then, there's a tiny little kind of position where your headset's just in the right place. And if you kind of move a little bit, just move your eyebrows, so it'll get out of position, it all goes blurry. But then it also was steaming up in these other glasses, which are less significant glasses than these, but still it was all steaming up. And on top of that, I then started feeling nauseous, very quickly. And I had to move the table out of the way in the lounge, and it only just worked in my lounge for a proper walk around thing. And I felt sick. So I thought, well, that's me and VR done then. I've tried it. I gave it my best. I'm not the kind of person that'll just rubbish something without giving it a go. So I gave it a go, and it doesn't work for me, and it never will do. And also, one thing, when I've seen people with any kind of AR type thing, they always have it on the right-hand side, with the little screen here. All the glasses are always on the right with the little, just check the weather today. Oh, it's raining. Oh, yeah, look, it's raining that way as well. That kind of thing. When there's a little bit of information up here. Well, that's the eye that doesn't work, so I don't know if they do these on both eyes. But then if I've got some over here, then I'm looking through the one that's just got a grey blob in the middle, so that's not good. Right, and oh, final thing on my trends this month, Trends 2023. Video reviews where everything's numbers. 6 things you must do. 9 flavours of cheese. 6 steps to heaven, no. 4 ways to kill yourself. 5 sights you must see before you're dead. 9 lives of a cat. Whatever, you know, there are these things with a number. There was a chap I used to watch his videos. Actually, I'm not going to say what about because it really does give it away, but he did videos about a subject that I was sort of reasonably interested in. And then I kind of realised, hold on, every video, 6 things about this, 5 things about that. Here's 10 things you must know about such and such. Don't forget these 5 special tips. Always remember to... And I thought, you know what, I know what you're trying to do. It's all about the algorithm. It's all about getting noticed and all that. And they'll have the little thing that pops up. Click. Don't forget to subscribe. Ding. Click and all that. And I just thought, no. Why don't you just do something individual? I know you want to get the views. But this is awful. The trouble is, they get the views and it works. All this stuff works. I could do all this. Here's 10 pieces of stupid rubbish I bought in the last year that don't work and aren't worth making a video about. 12 times I got ripped off by Japanese postage. 5 things that were smashed up being shipped from the US. But no, I'm not going to do it because I've got to sleep with this guy. You know what I mean? It's my head I have to live with. If I'm out there doing this, I can't look myself in the mirror. Not that I do very often anyway, as you could probably tell. But anyway, I was going to talk about cars. We'll skip cars because I ordered a car back in January, and for some reason now it's going to arrive mid-June, and it's not even a good car. It's a bottom. Basic, cheap, small, supposed to have a 4-week delivery, petrol, nothing special going on about it at all from a major manufacturer. Oh yeah, that'll arrive probably March, or maybe into April. And then last time I spoke to them, it'll be mid-April, so 15th of April, ring them up. Right, where's my car? Oh, I don't know, we'll have a look. They'll look at the system. Yeah, it's saying mid-June now. Anyway, so that's my annoying car story, because I was expecting to have that now. But anyway, oh yeah, let's go into some extras on the 78 RPM record player. Let's roll VT. I've realised this is quite a useful camera angle because you can see me as well as the thing that I'm working on. I'm going to take this this Lenco Thorens turntable to the locker. This is the one I adapted, well, swapped the cartridge over for 78s, and it does have a bit of a motor noise and a lot of advice saying do this, do that, do the other, one of which is of course to oil the turntable bearings, which is something I haven't done and probably could do with doing. Let's just have a listen to how noisy this is. I'm assuming you can hear that. I mean, you shouldn't really be able to hear the motor on a turntable, should you? So, I'm going to see if it's possible to get under here. It doesn't look particularly easy. I mean, you can take that bit off and that bit off, whoa. But can you take this? Oh. Yeah, that was difficult, wasn't it? Wow. Well, that came straight out. Okay, is this oily? It's oily. So basically there's as you can see, there's a turntable bit, there's a toothed wheel there. One thing actually about this, it's supposed to have an auto return mechanism for the arm. Oh, that's what's making the noise, that motor there. Nothing to do with this. Right, listen to that. Hold on, let me move in. I can see that I could unscrew the centre bit of that, the spindle, and that'd come off. So I think what we need to do, oh yeah, what I was saying, it's got an auto return mechanism on this that I haven't seen in operation. It says it up here, auto retract. Oh, another thing, You might have noticed in the video there was plastic covering the front of this, and it was my intention at the end to take that plastic off, and I started doing it and it won't come off. It's because it's been on there so long, it's properly fused to it. So I kind of got about as far as this with a scraper, and I've given up at that point. So I ended up needing to shoot some extra bits for the video at the end. I had to be very careful to crop the bottom of this out in those shots. Otherwise you'd see that I'd ripped half the plastic protective stuff off and I just couldn't get to the rest. It took me ages to get to this point, and there's still some bits I can't get to. Anyway, enough about that. I'm going to oil the centre bit here, but I don't think it really needs it. Just put a drop down there. In fact, I can do that now. I've got some very fine oil here, so if we just pop a couple of drops of that in there and then spin this around. Right, so that's the platter. This is operating this mechanism now. Oh, this is interesting. There's something going on there. So let's just put that up there. So when this gets to the centre of the record and that spins, it should retract. Yeah, it does. But I think what I need to do now, I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer and we'll just have a look at this motor and see if we can see why it's making so much racket. Right, so here's the noisy thing. Let's just turn it on again. It's vibrating a lot of that as well, isn't it? You can see it's not running straight at all. Just look at the top of it. Kind of like it's bent in a way, or maybe just not on perfectly straight. On the top here, these little fins, they're not catching on anything. So that's all right. And that's if I push it up or down. But you can see, hopefully, on the side of here, there's a screw hole there. I'd like to zoom you in closer to that, but I can't do it. And it's only just about capturing focus where it is. If I was to move it any nearer, it wouldn't do it. Now, I don't think this screwdriver is going to fit in there, is it? Oh no, hold on. I think we're in. Not ideal. I do have some smaller ones, but I'm going to just use this for the moment because it should enable me to get this off here, I think. Right, well, we've loosened that. So come on, up. There we go. Right. Okay. Well, all we've got now is a motor. Let's just turn the motor on. Yeah, that motor's making noise. Have a listen. And that shaft's a little bit bent. Just a fraction. The question is, can you kind of bend it back? It's hard to tell which way it's bent. Yeah. This is probably a terrible idea. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to straighten that out. I'll try my best, but I can see that whenever I do it kind of just looks bent inside. Let's just put a bit of oil down here. This is probably not something you're supposed to do. Oh, gone super quiet. That's probably while that's there. I'd imagine once it dries up or disappears. I think the noise we're hearing is really that metal, what would you call that, drive shaft. Just kind of tapping on the edge as it's going round. I'm going to try and break the viscosity of this with a screwdriver. Hopefully with the intention of getting it to kind of go down inside there. That is quiet now. Well, let's stop that moving. Let's just put it back together again. Where's my screw? Oh, now this is a bit mucky. Have you seen that there? Let's get the focus on it. I'll try to. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. I presume at some point the belt on here has melted. Someone hasn't done a very good job of cleaning it off there, have they? Well, let's sort that out. Yes, tricky stuff to get off this. I put a bit of isopropyl alcohol on this cloth here, but I don't think it's doing very much at all. It's hard to get a good grip on it. I could perhaps do with getting some sandpaper on this, you know. This is not coming off at all. This isn't doing it. Right, well, I found my sandpaper, but getting that in there is going to be a bit tricky. So while I was in the garage, I've found my battery-powered Dremel type tool. Of course, that isn't going to fit in there either, so I'm going to try and find something that will, and see if I can polish it off with that. Well, it's bringing it off. Yeah, it seems alright. Oh, the screw has just fallen out of that, and on the floor I felt it hit my knee. Brilliant. Gotta go and find that now. Well, that was a fun 5 minutes, but I found it now. Of course, in hindsight, I should have been more careful. Let's just see. Is this magnetic? Right, it is. Okay, I'm going to use my big screwdriver to start with then. Okay, looking good. That's more like it. So I'll pop this back on. Might as well put the mat on as well. Right, let's have a listen. Ooh, smooth. That's a lot quieter. I've got some terrible records here somewhere that I can test with this. Let me just find one. Lenny D Organ Magic. Okay. That MCA logo reminds me of the first record I bought. I think it was, well, one of the first, if not the first. It was Pop Music by I seem to remember that being the first. Anyway, let's put this into, we'll put it into 33, so it's doing it right, although we're using, of course, the wrong stylus. And hopefully, when it gets to the end of here, we're going to see an auto return out of this for the first time, which should be nice. Oh, there we go. Yes. Ooh, super smooth. Okay, let's see if this 78 auto return works. Maybe it just needed a bit of grease on that bit in the middle, which I haven't done, by the way. And perhaps I should open it up and do that. I do have some silicone grease in here somewhere, which I think I'll just spray that plastic with underneath the turntable. But this should now auto return with any luck. Maybe it was just out of position before. Here we go. Yes. Look at that. Wow, it's like magic. Funny how that never did it before in the video, isn't it? You would have thought it would have just done it at some point. Anyway, another thing we need to do before we move on is check the speed. Let me get my strobe out and we'll see if the speed's altered at all. Running slightly faster now, but I mean slightly. Wait for the middle one. Yeah, and that one's running ever so slightly slow, but again, ever so slightly. And then this bottom one, 33. Oh, camera's not focusing. Yeah, that one's all right. I thought I'd try and get this stuff off here. You can see there where it's been, and it's actually made a nasty mess when it peeled off, although I think I could probably clean that up. Maybe. But here, this is where it stops. So what I'm going to do, I've got a hairdryer, which obviously isn't mine. I'm going to heat this up and we'll see if that'll help it to come off at all. In my head I thought it was just going to be one of those ones where you just peel the whole thing dead easily. And then when I started and it kind of kept snapping off, I thought, oh, I should have just left it. Yeah, it's completely stuck that. I can't do it. It's bonded to the plastic behind. It's just been on there so long. I mean, it's been on there 30 years or something, and yeah, I just can't get it off. So sometimes it's not a good idea to try and peel your plastic covering off. It's made a right mess of that. It doesn't matter. I'm just using this to record 78s if I ever need to. But yeah, if this was something that's putting on display, I'd be a bit upset about that. But anyway, there we go. Let's just try that mechanism once more at the end. Now that we've oiled things up a little bit. An incredibly exciting moment. Here we go. Yeah, a little bit smoother then. And that's it. So, off to the locker it goes. I'll put a little catch on there so the arm don't fall off, and yeah, probably never to be used again. Okay, now off the back of that, on that video about the 78 RPM record player, I used a couple of different camera angles just to liven things up. You know, when you're showing a record playing, I like to have something on screen, which is difficult because you could just show the record player, but it looks like a boring image if you show it for too long. You need to split the image every 10 seconds at the maximum. So I've got this thing. I'll show it that way around because that's got the logo on it. It's the Trexo Slider. This was a Kickstarter. There's probably plenty of other things like this, but this enables me to do nice slow movements, nice camera movements. So you get your camera on here, fix off the focus, lock the exposure, and then you can get it to play movements back and forth. And I could have done with something like this when I was doing my interesting things in cases video to sort of follow me across, although it would be quite a tricky one to sync that with me. You can adjust the speed on this thing. I'm just using it at one speed. It does have a very quick speed somewhere. No, it's got an app anyway that you can use on your phone. But yeah, so that's something that I invested in to make the videos a little bit more interesting, or some of the B-roll. And let's see where we're up to now. Oh yeah, I got an Internet Movie Database credit, IMDb, for Meekship. So I just thought it was funny that I've got an IMDb. So I'm now on Wikipedia and IMDb. Ooh, look at me, superstar. And that is one of the reasons actually I got that new microphone, because I did the recording for Meekship with that spongy studio thing, and it sounded so muffled. Actually, it probably sounded all right for the video because it sounds like it was coming from the puppet, from the character. It was like talking through a puppet. But yeah, it was just that I thought that was the point. I thought, no, I've got to get a different microphone. This is not good enough. If anyone ever asked me to record something again, I don't want it to sound as bad as that. Right, so there's a chap called Stu who I might have mentioned, well, I did mention before, who offered to do my merchandise. I do feel a bit embarrassed talking about stuff like this because it sounds like you kind of think you're something when you go, I've got merchandise, merch is available. But you know what I mean. People have asked in the past, do you do merchandise? I've tried to do stuff through Teespring and that, and the quality wasn't up to the standard that I wanted. So I really reduced it down to just a couple of mugs and things. And I wasn't very good at coming up with designs. And then about a year or so ago, this Stu chap who has a website, who has an Etsy store, who'd done other people's merch in the past, other YouTube people, he offered to do it. He said, I could do some logos, do some stuff. So I said, yeah, go ahead. So he's been doing T-shirts and hoodies and whatever else have you. Nothing that I'd wear, because I don't wear T-shirts and hoodies, but still, at one point I said to him, are you thinking of doing any mugs? Because people do ask me, have you got any new mugs out? And he said he was thinking of it. He didn't have the equipment. He had equipment for doing these the clothing. Anyway, eventually he's invested in some mug stuff, but he's done it a bit different because he's gone and got the he's doing the metal mugs. These ones here, 300 mils. I've got some drink in this one actually with ice in it. Still got the ice in it, so that's good. It must be insulated. I didn't really realise that. Well, yeah, that hasn't washed away at all. Right, so this one, it's very hard to see on camera, aren't they, these? Let me try and get my head out of the way. So that's got like a stop and a go and a logo and a thing. I'm not sure about these. They don't really show up very well on camera, do they? So that is part of the issue. That one's got like a mini disc and a logo on that side, a mini disc suitable logo. This Stu chap, he does good quality stuff. He's only in the UK and he's on Etsy, and unlike the stuff I'd had from Teespring, nobody's complained about this. They've all said it's good quality. I think he prides himself on the quality of the stuff, which is, I mean, Teespring didn't give us stuff, and I had people complaining to me. That's what annoyed me more than anything else. I got people like writing to me saying that this merchandise is rubbish. I thought, well, I don't want to do any then, because I only did it because people asked. I haven't had anyone complain about Stu stuff. And so he's got metal mugs out now, and these 300 mils, obviously don't stick them in a microwave. I'll put a link down below. So that's those. There's a range of designs. I think they're about £17 each, so they're not cheap. I asked him if they were dishwasherable. I don't even know if that's a word. He says, yeah, he thinks they are. Because he has to heat them up to some ridiculous temperature. I forgot what he said, like 600 degrees C or something. to get this transfer stuff on him. So he says that your dishwasher will definitely be less than that. It won't come off again. So I'll stick mine in the dishwasher later. If there's something that happens to him, I'll let you know. 2 little things to finish off with, very tiny little things. First one is, Grace was asking what the cat's name is. You might remember, ended up having this cat that was like a stray that we'd been looking after. His name is Bee's Knees. I mean, it isn't really. The truth is, there's a story behind this. I'm not going to go into it, but at some point we said, oh, he thinks it's the bee's knees, and it kind of stuck. So, yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the phrase, it means he thinks he's something special. It was when we saw him sitting in a window, and he was like there going, yeah, look at me. I've got a live feed on him now on my camera. Hold on. There he is, asleep on the couch at the moment. He's the thing at the bottom. The thing at the top's like a teddy bear that he leans on. So he's asleep there. He's been there all day. And then the very last thing, sorry, I forgot who it was. They're asking me for some more hip-hop artist recommendations. The problem with the music is at the moment, I haven't had time to listen to it for years properly. And I've forgotten everything. I've got a terrible memory. And I can't remember who I like and who I don't like anymore. I need to just... I have this idea that one day I'm just going to sit down and spend a lot of time listening to the stuff that I've collected over the years. I've got records that I've ended up buying again off a CD I've got in the past that I've forgotten about and stuff. It's getting very confusing. I suppose it doesn't matter if you go streaming, does it? Because you never have to buy anything. But yeah, sometimes I like to try and support things or get special editions, and then I realise I've already got it. But I have not got all my CDs to hand. A lot of them are in a big bag in the loft, which isn't ideal, and I'd rather they were on display somewhere. But the house just doesn't have any room. Anyway, about a year or so ago, I went in that bag and just grabbed a load because I needed just some stuff to show in a video, like in the background. And I've got a stack here, and I went through some of these. And so here are some names for the nice chap who was asking about some hip-hop artists that he might not have heard of. I'm pretty sure you've heard of all these. It's just, it's all I've got in this stack. I'll try and find some less common ones in the future. So, Cool G Rap and DJ Polo, right? Pretty sure everyone's heard of them. Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Craig G, that was one I liked. Now That's More Like It. I seem to remember liking that one. There was quite a few good tracks on there. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Actually, that was it. I think that's all I've got. Because after that, I've just got like usual things, Dr. Dre, Eric B. and Rakim, Beastie Boys, and all that kind of Naughty by Nature, Man Parish down there. Yeah, so I haven't really got any really kind of odd ones there. So yeah, that's all I've got at the moment. Maybe there's one of those you haven't heard of. I doubt it. I think you'd know all those. I'll try and think some better ones for next time as recommendations. But I threw my notes away. But I think I finished it. So it's a long one. This I might cut some stuff out. It might have got a bit boring at some points. I'm quite sure it did. But that's it for this month. So as always, thanks for being around. I know there's a few questions people ask me about, such as tell me the story on the cheetah chimp picture and stuff, and other such things, and working in HMV and that. Maybe for another time. I had quite a lot to cover this time. I didn't want it to like just drag on and on and on, although I suspect that's how it feels already. So I'm going to try and edit this down now in the computer, just try and make it a little bit squashed in. And I've also got to get that one updated onto Patreon, the one about the CD text. And hopefully I can start getting some stuff working. But yeah, it's a struggle at the moment with stuff. Everything's just, it's all getting too old, isn't it? When I started doing this, you could just buy stuff and it'd work. Now, you buy stuff and it's pretty much guaranteed not to work. And I don't have the ability to get most of it working. And yeah, I know there are people out there who can, but they don't want all my stuff. And then me get it back, and then I realised I didn't want to make a video about it anyway. I'd rather just get some, see if it works. If it works, I make a video about it. Anyway, talking too much, blathering, need a drink. Best go and have a look at Bee's Knees, check he's getting on all right. And that's it for the moment. So, as always, thanks for watching.